You are 23 years old. You have $11,200 saved. And right now, today, you are about to make a decision that will determine your net worth at 40 by a margin of over $500,000. This is not a hypothetical. This is the math. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly which path is right for you, and why most people who choose wrong never even realize they did. Here is the setup. You take home $3,140 a month after taxes. You work a real job at a real company. You have been careful with money, more careful than most people your age, and you have $11,200 sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 4.6% APY. You have two options in front of you. Option 1, you start saving aggressively for a house. You want to own something. You want stability. You want to stop paying someone else's mortgage. Option 2, you take that same money and the same monthly discipline and you invest it instead. You keep renting. You stay flexible. You let the market work for you. Same income. Same starting point. Same 23-year-old with $11,200 and a decision to make. The outcomes at 40 are not the same. Not even close. Let's run both paths, every year, every number, every consequence, and you decide. Age 23. You choose the house. You call this money your house fund. Every month, automatically, $800 moves from your checking account into a high-yield savings account the morning after payday. You never see it leave because you set it up so you wouldn't. Your rent is $1,180 a month. One bedroom. Thin walls. A parking spot you argue over with the neighbor in 4B. You tell yourself it is temporary. That word, temporary, is doing a lot of work. By the end of year 1 your house fund holds $10,617 including interest. You know what PMI stands for. You know what a debt-to-income ratio is. You have a Google sheet with tabs. You are not impulsive. You are prepared. Age 23. You choose to invest instead. Same city. Same job. Same $3,140 take home. Your rent is $1,240, slightly nicer unit. 2 roommates moved out 6 months ago and the landlord never raised the price. You ran the full numbers on buying. Mortgage, PMI, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and the thing most people forget, opportunity cost. You came back to those numbers 4 times. On the 4th time you made a decision. You open a Roth IRA and fund it with $500 a month. You open a taxable brokerage account the same evening. $300 a month into a total market index fund with a 0.03% expense ratio. Both transfers automate for the Wednesday after payday. By Thursday you have forgotten about them. By the end of year 1 the Roth holds $6,200. The brokerage holds $3,900. The market was choppy. You did not care. Age 24 to 25. You are saving for a house. You get a raise, $4,800 annually. The monthly contribution jumps from $800 to $1,100. You do not change anything else. On Saturdays you start attending open houses. Not to buy, to learn. You meet a real estate agent at a Colonial on Heron Drive. He hands you a folder with tabs. You read every page in the car afterward. You learn about closing costs, typically 2 to 5% of the purchase price. On a $295,000 home that is $5,900 to $14,750. That number was not in your spreadsheet. You add a column. You update the target. By age 25 the house fund holds $38,400. You need more. Your target is 20% down plus closing costs. On a $300,000 home that means roughly $72,000 at the closing table. You adjust the timeline. 1 more year. Age 24 to 25. You are investing. Same raise. Same $4,800. You increase the brokerage from $300 to $500 a month. Total monthly investment is now $1,000. In month 7 of year 2 the market drops 14%. Your brokerage balance falls from $18,400 to $15,800 in 3 weeks. You read the sentence you bookmarked when you started, time in the market beats timing the market. You put in an extra $400 that month. That is the full extent of your response. By 25 the Roth holds $24,600. The taxable brokerage holds $18,900. Total invested, $43,500. A coworker shows you a listing on his phone. $312,000. 3 bedrooms. A yard with a fence. You look at it. You do not feel regret. You feel curious. That distinction matters more than you know right now. The position at 25, Path A, House Fund $48,200, cash outside the fund $3,100, invested $0, net worth approximately $51,300. Path B, Roth IRA $24,600, taxable brokerage $18,900, cash $6,800, net worth approximately $50,300. On paper nearly identical. The composition is completely different. One is earmarked and waiting for a single transaction in a single zip code. The other is liquid and compounding across thousands of companies in dozens of countries. They are about to become very different things. Age 26. You buy the house. You close in March. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, 1,640 square feet, 20 minutes from downtown. Purchase price $298,000. Down payment $59,600. Closing costs $10,400. Total out of pocket at the closing table, $70,000. Your mortgage locks at 6.7% on a 30-year fixed. Monthly principal and interest $1,552. Property taxes escrowed at $380 per month. Homeowners insurance $130. Total monthly payment $2,062. Your old rent was $1,180. The difference is $882 every single month. The house needs furnishing, a couch, dining table, bed frame, blinds, a lawnmower, one expensive hardware store trip for something the inspector flagged but did not price. $6,800 over 4 months. You establish a home maintenance Serve, 1% of home value annually. $248 per month into a separate account labeled house. Total monthly housing cost including the reserve, $2,310. You stop contributing to any investment account. The budget will not allow it. The plan is to restart in 18 months once things stabilize. You write this down. Age 26. You keep investing. Your landlord raises the rent to $1,320. You negotiate. You settle at $1,280. Here is the accounting that matters. Path A deployed $70,000 in one moment at the closing table. Your equivalent, the money you have been investing since 23, is now worth $50,700, $43,500 in contributions plus $7,200 in market growth. That $50,700 is working for you right now, today, without you touching it. The $882 monthly difference between Path A's housing costs and yours, you invest $700 of it. The remaining $182 covers the renter gap, renter's insurance instead of homeowners, no maintenance reserve, a storage unit at $87 a month for the things that would have gone in a garage. New monthly investment total, $1,700. You did not arrive at that number by accident. You designed it. Age 27 to 29. You own the house. Month 8, the water heater fails. $1,100 installed. It comes from the maintenance reserve. That is what it is there for. You replenish it over 3 months. You plan to restart investing at 28. 18 months became 22. The budget needed 1 more quarter. You enroll in your company 401k at 4%, exactly the employer match threshold. The company adds another 4%. You are not leaving free money on the table. Monthly going into retirement, $248 from you, $248 from your employer, $496 total. At 28 the home appraises informally at $317,000. Mortgage balance $238,400. Equity $78,600, that includes your $59,600 down payment, principal paid, and $19,000 in appreciation. A neighbor mentions she sold last month, $329,000, similar square footage. You file the number. By 29 the 401k holds $22,400. Home equity $91,200. Net worth approximate. LY $121,000. Mostly illiquid. The equity is real. It is not accessible without selling or borrowing against the house. Your friends who rent have absorbed 3 rent increases in 3 years. Your housing cost is the same number it was the day you signed. That fixed payment is doing something quietly that does not show up in any net worth column yet, but it will. Age 27 to 29. You keep investing. Income grows to $72,000 at 27. You max the Roth IRA for the first time, $7,000 annual contribution. The brokerage continues at $700 per month plus the housing differential. Total annual investment approximately $22,400 deployed into the market. At 28 you sit with a fee-only financial planner. She charges $250 for 1 hour and holds a fiduciary obligation to you. She runs 3 scenarios with you, conservative, base, stress-tested. In 2 of the 3 you outpace the typical buyer's equity growth through age 38. In 1 the housing market runs so hot you don't. You keep investing. You understood from the beginning that certainty was never the right frame. By 29, Roth IRA $68,400. Taxable brokerage $89,200. 401k $18,600. Total invested $176,200. You rent. You do not feel a need to justify it to anyone. The gap at 29, Path A, home equity $91,200, 401k $22,400, net worth approximately $121,000, monthly housing cost consuming 73% of take-home pay. Path B, portfolio $176,200, net worth approximately $183,000, monthly rent 40% of take-home pay, full flexibility intact. The distance is $62,000 in net worth. But the composition is what tells the real story. 1 is concentrated in a single illiquid asset in a single market. The other is distributed across thousands of companies in dozens of economies. They are not the same kind of wealth. They are not supposed to be. And the gap is about to widen significantly. Age 30 to 35. You own the house. At 30 you refinance. Rates drop to 5.9%. The process takes 6 weeks and costs $4,200 in closing costs. New monthly principal and interest, $1,488. Monthly savings $64. Break even on the refinance cost, 65 months. You plan to stay. The math works. Promotion at 31, $88,000. The 401k contribution moves to 10%. Employer still matches 4%. Total annual 401k input, $15,840 combined. At 33 a contractor walks the back of the house and quotes $74,000 for a primary suite expansion. You thank him and do not call back. The house is enough. The number is not. Then the neighborhood changes, a grocery store, a coffee shop, restaurants with exposed brick on Meridian Street. Property values run 18% in 14 months. 2 appraisals put the home at $381,000. Equity $174,000. Mortgage balance $207,000. At 34 you open a taxable brokerage account. $400 a month. It feels late. It is not late. It is later, and there is a difference. By 35, home equity $191,000, 401k $97,400, taxable brokerage $9,800, net worth approximately $305,000. The house represents over 62% of your total net worth. You are aware of this. You are not certain how you feel about it. Age 30 to 35. You keep investing. Same promotion, $88,000. The investment rate increases immediately. You max the 401k, $23,000 annually. You max the Roth, $7,000. The taxable brokerage receives $1,400 per month. Total annual investment $46,800. At 31 you move cities for a better opportunity, $97,000 salary. Rent rises to $1,620 in the new city. You run the numbers on buying there. The price-to-rent ratio in that market is 28. You stay a renter. At 32 the portfolio crosses $300,000 for the first time. You are in a meeting when the number appears on your phone. You close the tab. You go back to the meeting. Someone asks you at a dinner party at 34 whether you regret not buying sooner. You say, I haven't run out of time. You mean it exactly that way. By 35, Roth IRA $148,000, 401k $172,000, taxable brokerage $198,000, total portfolio $518,000, cash savings $28,000, net worth approximately $546,000. The gap at 35, path and net worth $305,000, primary asset home equity. Path B net worth $546,000, primary asset diversified market portfolio. Distance, $241,000. Here is what that spreadsheet does not fully capture. Path A has a fixed housing cost that has not risen in 9 years and will not rise for 21 more. That is a structural advantage that compounds silently in the background and does not appear in any net worth column. Path B has $518,000 compounding at historical average rates. At 7% real return the portfolio grows by approximately $36,000 this year without a single additional contribution. That number grows larger every year automatically. Both advantages are real. They are different kinds of real. This is important to understand before you make your decision. Age 36 to 40. You own the house. An inheritance arrives at $37,000, $44,000. You do not renovate. You put every dollar into index funds. The brokerage account accelerates. At 38 salary is $96,000. Monthly investment rate outside the 401k, $1,800. It took until 38 to reach this number. You are on a different curve, not a broken one. 2 appraisals at 39 put the home at $421,000. Mortgage balance $178,000. Equity $243,000. By 40, home equity $261,000, 401k $189,000, taxable brokerage $64,400, Roth IRA $31,200, net worth approximately $556,000. Monthly housing cost including the refinanced mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance reserve, $1,810. Friends who still rent comparable space pay $2,200 to $2,600 per month. The gap has flipped. You are now paying less than market rate for the same quality of shelter by a meaningful and widening margin. Every year inflation erodes the real cost of your fixed payment. Every year the advantage increases quietly. The mortgage has 18 years remaining. In 18 years it disappears entirely. After that your cost of shelter is property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, approximately $710 a month. That number rewrites the retirement calculation in ways that a standard portfolio chart cannot capture. Age 36 to 40. You keep investing. At 36 the portfolio crosses $600,000. A fee-only planner suggests a minor allocation adjustment, slightly more bonds, slightly less international. Minor. The automated investing continues without disruption. At 38 the rent is $1,780. It has increased 5 times in 7 years. Each time you received 60 days notice. 1 year you ran the numbers on buying in that city. The price-to-rent ratio was 31. You extended the lease. By 40, Roth IRA $248,000, 401k $394,000, taxable brokerage $412,000, total portfolio $1,054,000, cash savings $34,000, net worth approximately $1,088,000. The portfolio crossed $1 million in invested assets before your 40th birthday. There was no ceremony. The number appeared on a Monday morning. You had a call at 9 a.m. Life continued in exactly the direction it had always been going. The portfolio grows by approximately $73,780 this year from compounding alone, larger than most full salaries, arriving without your labor, and it will arrive again next year. The gap at 40, path and net worth $55. 6,000, monthly housing cost $1,810 and declining in real terms every year. Path B net worth $1,088,000, monthly rent $1,780 and rising at a rate no contract controls. Distance in net worth, $532,000. And here is where both paths project forward. Path A at 58, if the home appreciates at 3% annually and the portfolio compounds at 7% real with continued contributions, net worth approaches $2.1 million. The portfolio at that point supports $84,000 per year under the 4% withdrawal model. The house owned outright eliminates the largest line item in the monthly budget. The options are concrete. They hold under the conservative scenario. Path B at 58, if the portfolio compounds at 7% real with continued contributions, total invested assets approach $3.9 million. The 4% withdrawal is $156,000 per year. Rent at 58 is an unknown. It could be $2,800. It could be $4,100. It depends on a city not yet chosen, a landlord not yet met, a lease not yet signed. That variable is real. It does not cancel the math, but it does not disappear from the math either. In 18 more years at historical averages, both of them are wealthy by any ordinary definition of the word. The paths converge in outcome. They do not converge in experience. Here is what the spreadsheet never captured. Path A drove to work through the same streets for 14 years. They know which board on the back porch creaks. They know their neighbor Carmen who brought soup the week the water heater failed. The ceiling fan in the second bedroom still wobbles slightly. They never fixed it. It became part of the house and the house became part of the life, and after a while those two things were difficult to separate. Path B has lived in 4 cities. Every move was a choice. Every lease was a door. They have over $1 million in a brokerage account and still do not know exactly where they will be in 5 years. Some people call that freedom. For some people it is harder to name than that. Both of them chose a system at 23. 1. System stored wealth in walls and years and a fixed address and a ceiling fan that wobbles and will wobble until someone decides it matters. One system stored it in markets and mobility and a number that compounded in silence while they were living their life. Both systems did what systems do. Both compounded. The only question that was ever actually in front of you was, which kind of compounding fits the life you want to build? Not the life that looks best on paper. Not the life that wins the argument at a dinner party. The life you will actually live every Tuesday for the next 40 years. Because the Tuesday always comes. For both of them it always did.